What's happening, you wonderful people on the internet, and welcome back to Frankie's Aquatics right here on YouTube. So last week I had every intention to do a video for my channel, but unfortunately family commitments kind of pulled me elsewhere that were unforeseen and I couldn't really do anything about it. So this week I thought to myself, right, the kids are off school, it's half term, but I'm absolutely determined to get a video out because I've got the itch. I don't think it's fleas. So I thought to myself, rather than just avoid another week because of the kids and the background noise and everything else that might happen, because being a family, being a father is an absolute magical thing, but also kids are very noisy, and it's pretty frowned upon to put duct tape on their mouth, even just for a 15-minute video. So I steer clear from that. I don't need trouble, I don't need the trouble. Don't need the aggro. Back to the serious side of today's video. So today's video, I did loosely script it last week, ready for last week's video. But like I said, unfortunately I didn't get a chance to do it, so I'm going to confront it today. It's not a great subject, but it's about how to deal with the loss of a pet. Or in some people's eyes, the loss of a family member, because let's be honest, some people love their dogs more than they love their husbands or their wives or whatever. Not me. I'm a family man through and through. But just the severity of it, it can really hit people hard when they lose a pet, and some people struggle to deal with it. So I want to just talk about how I've learned to cope with it in the hobby that I'm in, being a fish keeper or an aquarist, I think we're called, or an aquarist or something of a similar value. A fish keeper, that's what I'll call myself. So I want to just talk about how I've learned to deal with it, because obviously in this business, or I won't say business, but this hobby, we obviously get attached to our little fish critters, and then unfortunately they don't live nearly as long as we do, and well, most of them don't anyway. And we have to experience loss, and it's not a nice pill to swallow. It's something that takes a lot of time to get used to and adapt to, and obviously there's no real wrong or right way to mourn a pet, really. So first things first, we can be talking about any pet. We can be talking about a goldfish, we can be talking about a cat or a dog, or something of an equal value. There's no wrong or right pet to love more than the other. So for example, most people say when you lose a fish, oh, that's a shame, but it's just a fish, you can just buy another one, maybe a couple of quid. I was like, whoa, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. That's not how it works. So for me, as a kid, I was always grew up in a house with two brothers, a mum and a dad, and we always had a dog in the house, or a cat, or a bird. There's always some sort of animal to care for within the house. So I experienced loss quite frequently as a kid. But unfortunately, for some crazy reason, and if you're watching this, mother, I'm still poking my finger at you, because I don't think you should have done this. For some reason, they tried to shadow me away from the side of losing an animal, rather than help me understand it and kind of get to grips with losing an animal and how it feels and how you should deal with those emotions. I was kind of shied away from it. So here's an example. Bit of a crazy example, but bear with me. I was about 7, 6, 5, around that age, and I had a budgie. And I loved this budgie, absolutely loved this budgie. It was a little chirpy thing. I learned all these different whistly tunes and all that fun stuff. And it was near Christmas, and I woke up Christmas morning and the budgie had gone. First thing I noticed, to come down Christmas morning to all my presents, Santa had been, it was all exciting, and I looked over and my budgie had gone. And I was like, I can't remember the budgie's name, terrible of him, but I can't remember the bird. I said, where's so-and-so? And my mum awkwardly looked at me dad and kind of went, oh, I don't know if they'd rehearsed this, I don't know, I've never asked them to this day if they rehearsed this, but they kind of looked at each other a little bit awkwardly, like they wanted the whole floor to swallow them up, and they just kind of went, Santa took him. I was like, what? Santa brings gifts, he doesn't shoplift, doesn't steal from your house, he's not a burglar. Yeah, Santa wanted a bird and he just took him. And that's what they told me as a kid. They told me that Santa stole my bird. I had such a beef on with that guy for years. I'm not even joking. I held a grudge. Every year on my Christmas list, what would you like for Christmas? Me bird would go amiss. You thief. Want me bird back? So that's what I mean. Rather than them go, unfortunately he passed away, Christmas Eve, which is a bit sucky, granted, they decided to make out that he'd been stolen by Santa Claus. So I didn't quite look at Santa the same way ever since then, if I'm quite honest with you. Yeah, so after that it was a cat. I had a cat called Whiskers that I was quite attached to, quite close to, more of a dog to be fair. He used to follow me everywhere. I used to go to the school, which was just a little bit down my road, and I used to always have to go back from school in the morning because he'd follow me to school. This one day in particular, he followed me all the way to my school, which is a good 20-minute walk, and then I was in my actual class and I looked out and I could see him on the flipping playground. And I thought, I can't leave him here, it's gonna freak me out, so I have to obviously get him back home. This is long before the days of mobile phones, so I had to literally pick him up, but like I said, he was like a little puppy, and I just carried him all the way home, and I had to come all the way back to school. The school was not impressed. And then unfortunately we lost him to a car road accident. Now this, again, mother, if you're watching, and dad, you might watch some of these too, I don't know. But another one, this is what they did again, this is a strike two. This was strike two. So basically, after I had him for about 2 to 3 years, this lovely little black and white kitten, obviously grew into a beautiful cat, big boy, very big boy, went missing, disappeared, don't know where he went, never seen him again. So I never gave up looking for him. I spent the next 3 to 4 weeks properly searching for him. I used to leave food out every night, his favourite kibble food, and if he took it, I was convinced that it was him that was coming back for it, and he was eating his food. I didn't even think about the fact that wildlife and other stray cats or whatever may be coming and eating the food. I was just absolutely focused on the fact that it was my cat, Whiskers his name was, and he was coming back, but for whatever reason he wasn't coming in the house. Then it wasn't easing off, I was keeping on with it. I was absolutely convinced I was going to find him. And then it took for my parents to kind of sit me down again and go, "We're ever so sorry to tell you this, and we probably should have told you first, or at the beginning." But unfortunately, he was in a car accident and he didn't make it. And I was just like, why let me do this for like however many weeks? I had a paper round at the time, and I was spending all my money I was making. I think it was like £4.50. Bing, big money. I was spending all my money on treats for the cat and food for the cat and his favourite little milk thing, little Whiskers milk you can buy. And I was just leaving them all out for him, trying to encourage him to come home. I was convinced that he was alive, and I was absolutely convinced that he was going to come home at some point. Never even entered my head that he might not be around, he might have died. Damn you, mother. This is my point. There's no wrong or right way to mourn a loss of an animal, and I think it's very critical and crucial that we do digest the emotions correctly. Like I said previously, some people say it's just a fish. It just bugs me out something crazy, because for me it's not just a fish at all, it's a life. And although that animal is in our life for a short time, they can have a massive impact on your life. Opie, I spoke about him previously. Opie was my first male, better splendid Siamese fighter, whatever you want to call them. And I absolutely fell in love with him. Absolutely fell in love with him, I really did. I didn't think he'd have such an impact like he did. I've always had an attraction to Siamese fighting fish, better splendids. I've loved them. I've always admired them. Every time I used to go to the pet shops, I'd always be oogling them, like, ooh, I love them. There's the colours and the way you have to keep them in the solitude. I loved everything about them. They just scratched every itch that I had in regards to aquatics. So I got him when I was old enough and big enough and ugly enough to make my own decisions, and I got Opie. And I learned so much from him, so much. And unfortunately, when he passed away, which was kind of sudden, which unfortunately with fish it very much can be, it hit me like a ton of bricks. It really hit me hard, it really did. And I have lots of family members, and I'm not saying I mourned the fish more than I mourned my family members, but it was on equal value. It really was, it was on equal value. It really hurt, it really stung, and then I found myself, a grown man in my 30s, bursting into tears at the drop of a hat for no apparent reason apart from the fact that I was missing Opie. Crazy, it's crazy. But it's how you deal with it. It's how you deal with it. That's what it's all about. It's how you learn to deal with loss. Unfortunately, in this hobby that I'm in, we experience a lot of loss, whether it be through human error, that does happen, whether it be through no fault of our own, that happens too. I remember someone told me a while ago, when I very first got into the hobby, I was quite young, and he said to me, just remember, fish are like light bulbs. I said, sorry, so they can go like that. I didn't think much of it at the time. I thought, okay, you crazy ball. Didn't think much of it, but it's very much true. Apologies for that. Battery died. But yeah, you can actually have a fish autopsy. Obviously, it doesn't help warrant the fish coming back to life or anything of such. It just gives you a bit of peace of mind as to how the animal could have died. But let's be honest, if you have a big collection you're not going to be able to afford, or probably have the desire to have an autopsy on all your little critters. But yeah, these things happen. This is what I'm trying to stress to you today. Sometimes because an animal comes into our life and we are that in animal's entire life, it relies on us for food, cleanliness, comfort, everything in between. It relies on us so heavily. And I think that's why as humans we get so attached to our animals. I mean, I sat there the other night because I'm in the middle of sorting out this room that we're in at the moment. It is my bedroom, but it's going to become my blue room, as I'm going to call it. It's going to have lots and lots and lots of modifications and changes and stuff. Stop unfocusing. So it's going to have lots of changes, and I've got all my fish in this one room now, which is before they were scattered all over the house, different tanks and different rooms and stuff. So now I'm trying to do everything under one roof, i.e. this bedroom, the blue room. Anyway, I sat there the other day and I looked over at my axolotls and I just realised, sorry about the noise of the kids, I just realised how much they actually meant to me. Not that I didn't anyway, but you know when you just really appreciate something? That's exactly how I feel in regards to my fish and my axolotls and any animal that I have for that matter. I keep several different animals and I love them all dearly, I really do. They're a huge part of my life. So when you lose them, it's a huge loss and a huge weight to carry, and it can take a lot of time to get over. It was a fellow YouTuber, Gracie her name is, I'll leave a link just around here somewhere, I'll put a logo here and I'll leave a link below, summed it up perfectly in her last video. She turned around and unfortunately she had a loss herself and she struggled talking about it. She got a bit of a lump in her throat and she turned around and said that she doesn't normally talk about it with people because people just don't get it. And it's so true. It is so very true. People just don't get it. I'm talking about fish either. You could have a pet hamster. You could have a pet tortoise. You could have a pet stick insect. There's no wrong or right level of love that we give to our critters, our animals. They're all, for me, they all fall under the same umbrella. They're part of the family. So just mourn how you feel you need to mourn. Some people can be quite flippant and be like, right, okay, that was sad, and then they kind of quickly change their mindset and they move on. Whereas other people, like myself, I kind of carry it with me. I talk about Opie, my first better, like he's still around, which is a bit crazy. And I've got this right here. I'll see if I can get this out the frame without making too much of a hiccup. I had a friend, an artist, he's named Beard King Frost, or at least that was his name on Instagram. I think he's changed it since. I had him to draw this for me. So this is me when I was a bit more chubby, and that's actually Opie there. That was a picture of Opie that I gave. And then over here we've got Pixel. So and that's framed in a stick-on frame on my fish tank rack, and I love it. And I love it. It just sums me up perfectly, minus the glasses because I never wear the damn things. But it just sums me up perfectly. I'm all about my animals. I love my animals. They mean a lot to me. They're so dependent upon me, as your animals are of you. So don't feel there's any wrong or right way to mourn or kind of come to terms with the loss. Another thing that I need to stress is don't beat yourself up too heavy. First thing we tend to do as a pet keeper, if something goes wrong or the animal suddenly passes and there's no real clear explanation as to why, we tend to pull at ourselves and what did we do wrong? Did I do that wrong? Did I do this wrong? Could I have done this differently? Of course, there's going to be things that we could have done differently. Of course there is. But for me, it's about learning from them. It's about learning from the mistakes. And I use the term very lightly because it's not always your mistake. Animals can fall sick, like us humans, they can fall sick without any real reason. Or without any real reason as to why they did. They just fall sick. As we do. We don't, when we fall sick, we don't go around pointing the finger, hey, I've got the cold and it's your fault. We just get on with it, don't we? As humans, we just get on with it. We don't look blaming people. I mean, if your friend had a cold and he came around for a coffee and the week after you got the cold, you might go, oi, cheers for sharing your cold, and he invites you around for a coffee. But you don't go around looking to blame someone, do you? Do you know what I mean? And we shouldn't be like that with our animals. As long as we learn from the mistakes that we make in the hobby, whatever hobby you might be in, whether it be fish keeping, whether it be hamster racing, whether it be tortoise spotting, I don't know what it is. Whatever you're doing, just enjoy it. Don't let the negative, stinky side of the stick destroy the better part, because thankfully, keeping animals, any animal, is massively rewarding. That is why we do it. We get a sense of achievement out of it, well, at least I do. And I'm just trying to express that don't always go around blaming yourself. It isn't always our fault. Yes, we make mistakes, we're only human. We make mistakes, but learn from them. Don't let that mistake come up again. That's all I'm saying. Just think about things. Think about things. But unfortunately, loss is part of this game, part of this hobby. So just do what you can. Be the best person you can possibly be for your animals, and enjoy the ride. That is all I can say. That pretty much sums up things for today's video. I know it's been a bit of a mixed match. I haven't given you strict guidance or answers as to how you should probably deal with the loss of a pet or a loved one, but I hope I've made you see it from a different standpoint. Just remember, to an animal you are its entire life, and to an animal to us is part of our life. That animal relies solely upon your care. Always give it the best care you possibly can, whether it be a fish, whether it be a hamster, whether it be a cat or a dog. Always do your very best. And then one day, when you look back on their life, don't look at it when there's in sadness because they've gone. Look at it with a smile on your face, knowing that you gave that animal the best possible life it could possibly have. And on that note, I'm going to do a Jerry Springer and say, take care of yourself and each other. And if you haven't done so already, please be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's do all the other fun stuff that makes this channel grow, because I've just touched over 100 subscribers. So thank you all so much if that's one of you. I appreciate you so much, so I really do. And that's not me like getting all excited because I've had too many blue Smarties. That's just me being honest. I really do appreciate the fact that you guys come back and watch my videos, hit the like button, and just make me feel a little bit warm and fuzzy inside. So thank you all so much. If you haven't done so already, do all that fun stuff, and I'll speak to you soon. So until next time, ta-ta for now. I forgot to show you my pictures. Did you see my pictures? I'll talk about them next time. I ran out of time today. I'm coming.